I had someone share with me on Patreon this morning about Dez Bryant. And Dez Bryant from the Dallas Cowboys, he obviously won his butter biscuit from Jerry Jones or any other master he's trying to please. Now, he had to take to Instagram. He had to get his inner coon on. He had to shuck and jive on Instagram. So let's go ahead and go through what he says about black people. So here we go. It says, first and foremost, I like to say I do a great job of minding my own business, but it's pressing on my heart to share my thoughts about white Americans and black Americans, racism. I saw a quote, Charles Barkley, when he said, now let's stop right there. Anytime someone's following a quote from Charles Barkley, you know some butter biscuit going on. We as black people, we're never going to be successful, not because you white people, but because of other black people. I hate to admit it, but I understand that quote. Let me tell you a problem with that quote in itself. The problem with that quote is you're sitting up here saying black people aren't successful. And there are people in the black community that really feel that we aren't successful. If we have no kind of success, how come black people, even though all the things we've been through, 246 years of chattel slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, civil rights movement, even still fighting to this day, the new slavery of prison labor. And yet out of all the stuff that we've been through, we still bring in over $1 trillion a year. We make people, unfortunately, to our detriment, billions of dollars in different industries. The same industry that Dez Bryant is in. It wouldn't be for black men. The industry would be crap. So yet he's sitting up here saying black people, taking Charles Barkley's quote. Now, individuals can make choices and not be successful, but it's always some sort of shucking and jiving, sell out black man who has some sort of influence that speak like this. And that's what make you weak. That's what make you sorry. And that's what make you not a man. I don't care what you do on that football field, you slave. You sit up there and you still behest to massa. And you look at some of the comments. That's what people are saying here. And one just really caught my attention. He said, I get it too, but Charles Barkley is an arrogant man who seems to have little love for his people. Wouldn't quote that jerk. That's for sure. They say, you understand a quote from Charles Barkley, Uncle Tom, who said he didn't know slavery was that bad. We all know slavery was terrible. How can you say that about racism? We never hear people tell, well, you see what that's saying, right? So let's go to the next one. Now, this same guy, Dez Bryant, says, I've been racially profiled on numerous times, but not once has it influenced an ill feeling inside me, anyone outside of that issue. Real slavery is different from what's going on in our world now. We all, every ethnicity, have the opportunity to lead by example. Instead of making videos about the history of racism, they get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media. We should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. Dez Bryant, shut the hell up, because you have to know about the history of this nation. Slavery was American history. Jim Crow is American history. The Black Codes is American history. Medical apartheid to black people is American history. It's not something that's far off that we're making up. What happened to us here in this nation didn't happen somewhere else, then we bring it in and act like it happened here. We're not doing that. It is when you see what your ancestors went through is making you feel a certain way, so you got to come and run and defend your master. I mean, what's wrong? You trying to get a new butter biscuit from Jerry Jones? You know, at any moment Jerry Jones will get rid of your behind. Look at Colin Kaepernick. They set up there, got their plantation owners together and say that we're not going to put him on the team. We're going to show that slave how not to get out of line and make sure the other slaves stay in line. I can't stand some of you dudes in the sports industry because that y'all ain't about a bunch of nothing. The next one, he says, I recently ran into a guy I grew up with who spent his adulthood dealing drugs. While we were catching up, he shared with me that he wished he chose a different and better path. He said, seeing my success was inspiring and that encouraged him to do better with his life. So Why can't you take something like that and say, you know what, I'm going to create other people within our community to be successful? Instead of sitting up there quoting Charles Coon Barkley, you could influence brothers like that to do better for themselves, to walk a better path. But that's not what you want to do, because you want to sit up here and get another butter biscuit. Now, on the next one, this man says, real question, what is wrong with being sophisticated and black? Why do we associate those who choose the straight and narrow as not being black enough? Now, that part is a legitimate thing you're saying, because unfortunately we have it in reverse, at least with our culture here, because we see different African culture. They focus more on education and stuff like that. And I'm gonna say not all of us, but some of us aren't focusing on the right thing. Street cred and this jail stuff should not be important. That's a piece of crap. Being a good person, establishing business, making inventions, innovating, that's more things we need to focus on. And plus, a lot of us are focused on that anyway. There's so many smart brothers and sisters here in America that's doing great things, but it's part of us that's not focusing on the right thing. So that, like I said, is a legitimate thing. Now, you said, why was it that I was one of the first examples of success to my friend? We focus hard on fighting the realities that exist instead of creating our own reality. The ones who came before us, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, paved a new path for us to follow. The struggles and hurt they endured created a new life for us today. It is not our job to carry the burden, but it's our job to lead by example. No, no, no. That's where you're wrong. It is your job to carry the burden, because if you're getting racially profiled, even though you got all this money, I just saw a special where you have the black 1%. And you know, the black 1% are treated no different than you, no different than me. No matter how much money you have or what your position is in America, you still the N-word to them, period. You may be a rich one, you may be a football player, business owner, whatever you may be, but you're still the N-word to them. That's how they look at you. That's why they treat you that way. That's why they racially profile you and everything else. But you're trying to keep going on with your butter biscuit. And then the thing is, with Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, if they felt like you, talking about, I'm going to lead by example, well, leading by example is carrying the burden of your people. If Malcolm X didn't carry the burden of his people, how can he be an example today? If Martin Luther King didn't carry the burden of his people, how can he be an example? If Rosa Parks didn't carry the burden of her people, how could she be a leader? So you got it all twisted. The thing is, a lot of you black men in these sports, you don't want the responsibility of your community. That's why you want to preach all this individualism. Oh, well, it has nothing to do with me. I did good. I didn't get in trouble. And okay, fine, you didn't. Bravo. That's good for you. But since you have a position, then help other people within your community now that you have the finance and you have the influence. But we understand in the world you in, you don't want to do that because you're focusing on self. And that's the problem. Others focus on their community. A lot of you focus on self. And the next one that he wrote up here was, not that my opinion matters, I'm just sharing my thoughts. No, your opinion do matter, because when you speak, it carries. Many people are going to listen to what you have to say. And since people are going to listen to what you have to say, your opinion is going to matter a little bit more than my opinion will ever be. Because nothing I'm saying is going to get on ESPN or anything else that I would say, unless I just say something extremely outrageous. Number one, you have to take responsibility for your community, especially when you've been afforded something a lot of people in our community have been afforded. Number two, if you know how hard it was, you talked about being raised in a single parent home, and maybe sports was your way out. The brother you talking about, he felt drug dealing was his way out, and he realized that he didn't choose the right path. He's lamenting about it. He's telling you and saying you are inspiring him. Instead of sitting up here quoting Charles Barkley, you could take that, what that brother told you, create foundations, create things to help people in your own community that you grew up with, and turn it around to success. What if you create some sort of business or something and give that brother a job that's paying good money in a decent position? That's the kind of stuff you're supposed to do. And that way you can help your community at the end of the day. And too much is given, much is required. But the problem is, with a lot of you black men that got this money, and some black women as well, you don't want to have any responsibility to your community. And I say shame on you, because if you have it and it doesn't cost you much or nothing, matter of fact, paying taxes, you have to give so much of that away anyway, so the tax man won't take it all from you. So why not you create organizations, 501c3s, whatever, and help your community? Education, we need education. Since you're talking about the straight and narrow, give these kids an option to get more educated. Show these kids that, hey, being a successful brother, being a successful sister is something that you want to be, not no thug or thugette, not no aspiring to be no stripper or reality star. I mean, that's the things that you can show them in your position. But if you feel that you can't carry that burden, then you know earthly good. And the thing is, we need to start calling out these sports stars, calling out these entertainers, because they the main one that's talking for the black community, because the white media would give them the platform to talk down on us, but let them talk about them. Watch why they shut him down. The thing is, Dez Bryant, if you just don't know what to say about issues like this, just go catch a ball for Jerry Jones and shut the hell up, because all you're doing is making yourself look bad when you're speaking about this. But this is the stuff these guys are saying, and I just can't stand these black men who are like that. Now, he talking about race. The league you playing in won't let black men even own the team. If you think there's no race going on in the NFL, why don't you go up there and try to get a team started and watch what they tell you? Try to get in with that crowd. But you think that's not going to happen until they cut you and say something about you. Then you want everybody to rally around you, talking about they treat me bad on a racial issue. Some of you $40 million slaves just need to either catch a ball, shoot a ball, or whatever you're going to do. Leave these issues alone if you're not versed in it, because if you're looking up to Charles Barkley, as I stated before, you're already headed down the wrong path. If you enjoy the news and information they receive on this platform, consider supporting us on Patreon for a minimum of $5 per month. The mainstream media wants to shut us down, and we need to survive, and only the people can help us do that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Dez Bryant and his comments. Share the video, like the commentary, and subscribe for more news stories.